Alright, let's go. More TGAC. I think we're not done with investigation just yet, so let's just keep going with that. Sorry, my screenshot button is the same as my mute, and I keep forgetting that. I wish we hadn't been thrown out like that. I wish we'd managed to find some clue as to what that speckled band might be. We didn't manage to investigate at all. And I imagine that we won't be able to for a while longer. We'll never get past that sailor guarding the door. He's clearly glaring at it as if to say, don't even think about it. Oh, wait a minute. What is it? Well, what happened to our great detective friend? Where did he go? Oh yes, he's completely disappeared. Why did he do that? He slipped away as quietly as the wind, but not before ensuring these were securely back on my wrist. Looks like they're still investigating in here. Yes, on that subject, I wonder if Inspector Hosonaga unscathed. What do you mean unscathed? Surely you haven't forgotten, have you, Naruhodo-san? Don't you remember what he said about allowing you out of this cabin to investigate? I'm going to talk to the captain about it. He said he'd lay his life on the line for you. Oh, yes. But I'm sure he was exaggerating. Let's see what he has to say for himself. He might have some new information for us. You never know. Is he even here? Because he doesn't seem to be. You, where did you go? Oh, sorry, I just went to the next door cabin to investigate. Why? Who gave you permission for this? Well, Stephen Hosonaga did. That new Japanese, was it? Later, I will roll him into ball and throw him in cold room. Phew, he's gone back to guarding the door. I hope Inspector Hosonaga doesn't find him in too much trouble on our account. He's really gone on his way to help, hasn't he? When we get back to Japan, we'll have to take him for a steak at the carnival. That could be a very long time from now, Naruhodo-san. What do I do now? All the books provided for passengers occupied this cabin, neatly arranged on the shelf. They were all over the place when we first looked around, if you remember. Oh yes, and you tidied them up, didn't you? And that's it. You have to look after the ship's property. Unruly behavior in the cabins leads to damage. But it really wasn't me who knocked them over. Well anyway, I feel much better now that they're neatly lined up. I can't relax when things are untidy. Man, I wish I hadn't gone with accents. I'm not British at all, so I'm just gonna be going all over the place with them. Especially for female ones, because, you know, I am not. Hang on. I need to pause a few things. This is where Kazuma spent his few moments writing his diary. 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. It looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Looking at his writing here on this page, it's almost impossible to believe that he's gone. Kazuma-sama left us a valuable clue in these words, I'm sure of it. We have to solve this mystery, Naruhodo-san. We will. Eventually. So it's clear these letters are written with the ink that was somehow spilled on the floor, and they spelled the Russian word for wardrobe. It does seem to be unambiguous pointed to you, Naruhodo-san, as you were sleeping in there. But to be truly unambiguous, it should have just spelled out my name, don't you think? Well, either way, one fact remains. It's hard to imagine that Kazuma-sama would have written his last words, or word, in Russian. Which begs the question of who did write it. Now what? Can I talk with him? I really wish you had a chance to look around in Miss Pavlova's cabin. What? Why you look like that? You want something? Maybe. You want me to throw you out again, Oh, no, definitely not that. Next time I have to throw you out. I assure you will spend winter, understand? Understand. Maybe I should steer clear of him until he's forgotten my face. I don't think he'll ever forget your face, Naruhodo-san. That door leads to the second-class area. It's locked. I can't open it. No, well, that stands to reason. No one wants to let the murderer escape. Gosh, she gave me a very stern look when she said that. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin, it's Kazuma-sama's. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined to the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stove feel small, don't you? Small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. Anyway, I wonder if Inspector Osanaga's managed to uncover any new clues. Yes, we should probably find him and ask. Where? I can't go anywhere. Wish I'll never be able to enter the other cabin with Seaman Stroganoff in the way. Wait, go back again? Oh. These are the rules of passage for traveler aboard the SS Buria. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. So by bringing her pet on board, Miss Pavlova has broken the rules. She called it her friend, didn't she? Yes, although we don't know what form this friend takes as yet. I'm almost certain that whatever it is, it's inside the traveling case in her cabin. A friend. There's more to this than it seems, I think. Oh, now I can go here? Was he there the whole time and I just couldn't move for some reason? So this ventilator joins Miss Pavlova's cabin. Yes, that's right. And just a few minutes before he died, Kazuma saw something emerging from it. Speckled band, as he described it. If only Miss Pavlova had been able to shed some light on it, but it seems she was baffled as we are. Yes, I wonder if she's telling us everything, though. I'm not sure. I know most people aboard would say the same about me, but there was something about that woman that didn't sit right with me. Oh no, he's locked up. Ah, you're back. Inspector, what happened to you? Your face is... Please, don't worry about it. They're just scratches. Made by a bear, maybe? I told the captain I'd given you permission to investigate. He told me to pummel me with his fists and then toss me overboard. What? But the pummeling was over in a flash, and he must have decided against throwing me overboard. So it was nothing, really. It looks like he wasn't joking when he said he'd lay his life on the line if he had to. Well, thanks to your efforts, we now know a little about the neighboring cabin. Yes, I understand. Oh. I bumped into a man claiming to be a great detective a little while ago. I think his name was something like Sherlock Holmes. I don't think he was German, though. Ah, that explains it. Shall we compare notes, then? We can tell you what we found out. Yes, let's do it. What? Nikolina Pavlova? She's in the cabin next door? Oh, do you know who she is? Please, what's a respecting ballet fan wouldn't know that graceful angel? Oops, I think I upset him there. Well, that tells us the neighboring cabin is unrelated to the case, at least. Oh? How? Because angels don't go around committing crimes, do they? Oops, that would definitely upset him. Inspector, has your investigation here proved fruitful? If I'm honest, there's very little more I can do. Our duty is to make sure the scene isn't disturbed, ready to hand over to the Hong Kong police. So I'm just keeping watch here, trying not to take my eyes off the job. Oh, I see. Ah, there is one thing. I do have a small piece of new information for you. Oh, what? Yes, do tell us, Inspector, please. What is this new information you have, Inspector? It's this. The Korea's medical officer has finished the examination of the body. I managed to obtain the report. Oh, Kazuma's post-mortem report? Kazuma-sama. So, what was the cause of death? Damage to the cervical vertebrae is what's written in the report. His neck was broken? Yes, it would seem so. There were no obvious wounds or other signs of injury, so at first I think they were considering poison. But it turns out they found no trace of poison in his system at all. Well, what weapon was used then? Nothing has been found as yet, but the fact that there are no signs of a wound suggests it may have been a blunt object, something that wouldn't leave a mark. Oh, I see. All the body's nerves run through the spine to the brain. A strong enough impact to the neck could induce death. It is a possibility, and no obvious wound would be left. Kazuma. I have a second copy of the report. If it might be useful, you're welcome to have it. Really? Are you sure? Yes, it's fine. I trust you. After all, if I didn't trust you, I'd never have agreed to you leaving this cabin in the first place, would I? Ah. Oh, Mr. Sholmes was here, was he? Yes. He seemed to be enjoying himself a little too much as he crept about on the floor investigating. But then he suddenly left. I suppose he must have become bored. Did he say anything at all? Actually, now that you mention it, yes, just one thing, but he practically shouted it. "It's shoe polish!" was all he said. Shoe polish? Wonder what he meant. It was when he was over there, by the piece of broken glass, do you see? Ah, perhaps you're talking about this brick-colored mark, do you think? Ah, yes, that must be it. But how can Mr. Sholmes know that it's shoe polish? That leaves me cold, I'm afraid. I have no idea. What is it, Susato-san? Well, Kazuma-sama was wearing leather shoes, the very dark tan hue. Dark tan? Sort of dark brownish red, then. Yes, a little like the color of red wine, but darker. I often repaired them for him. Oh, does this mean this mark was made by polishing Kazuma's shoes as they scuffed on the floor? That's really all I can tell you at this stage. I should return to my post. My fellow crewmen's eyes are boring into the back of my head. Yes, that might be for the best. Thank you. Oh, Inspector, you look exhausted. Oh, no. Well, I feel terrible that I failed to protect Asogi-san. It was my responsibility. Of course, my pain is nothing compared to yours. You were his friends. The truth is, I seem to have had a heavy head ever since I woke up this morning. A heavy head? That's interesting. My head's still throbbing too. What? That's all you have to say and then... Huh. Wait, look at this again. It really is such a beautiful color, this glass. Looks like whatever has broken clean in two, but the other half is nowhere to be seen. And then there's the brick-colored mark. Hello. No, it's not my favorite game. I just started it. It's the first time I'm playing it. Which is shoe polish, according to the great detective you seem to know all about. I suppose it must be from Kazuma-sama's shoes. Maybe, but what I'd like to know is, how can the detective be so sure it's shoe polish and not something else? Because he's a great detective, of course. That's hardly a reason, is it? Okay, guess we're done here. Oh. Move. Maybe Sholmes is out here now? Or Biff Stroganov's gone? Yeah, he's gone. Ah! Look, Naruhodo-san. Seaman Stroganov is gone. Strong enough? The burly Russian soldier who's always crossing his arms and glaring at us. Oh, all these Russian names are impossible to remember. Tra-la-la. What? Did you hear that? It sounded like someone singing. Tra-la-la-li-ra-li-ra-ray. I did it the great detective way. What? This caroling. I know that lock-like voice. Well, never mind that now. This is a golden opportunity for us. Yes, you're right. We must seize it. Let's get inside Miss Pavlova's cabin while we can and investigate. Definitely. Before that stringy knot crewman comes back. Oh my god. It's Stroganov, not stringy knot. I'm assuming Sholmes is happily dancing in there or something. Miss Pavlova isn't back yet. Sato-san. Oh, where's she gone? Hey, what are you doing? Those are her private things. There's not a moment to waste, Naruhodo-san. We must investigate as quickly as you can. I suppose you're right, for Kazuma's sake. Not just Kazuma-sama. What do you mean? It can't be long now until we arrive at port in Hong Kong. I don't want you to do those handcuffs when we get there. Really? We must solve this case, Naruhodo-san. By ourselves if we have to. Yes, we will. Okay, so she was looking at the wardrobe. Naruhodo-san, are you there? Sorry, I'm right here, yes? Why? Oh, good. I thought you might have climbed into the wardrobe when I wasn't looking. There's no place like home. Believe me, I don't have some strange compulsion to jump inside every wardrobe I see, you know. Well, anyway, I'm not sure anyone could fit inside this one. It's full of beautiful outfits. Those are all stage costumes. I was rather hoping we might find Miss Pavlova's friend hiding in here, but no such luck. Wait, I can't check that? She was so against me looking at it before, though. I could have sworn that was going to be something. Is this the entrance? This cabin door has the same simple sort of bolted latch that our cabin door has. If the bolt's drawn across, there's no way anybody could enter the cabin from outside. Yes, it's not a particularly heavy-duty bolt, is it? But still, it wouldn't slide across of its own accord, would it? No, and the door is made of metal, so there's no chance of trickery using magnets to unbolt it from the outside. And it seals up perfectly too, to stop any seawater coming in. So you can use the method you told me of passing a thread through a crack around the sealed door either. I seem to know a lot of tricks for opening doors. I'm starting to see why they suspect me. Wait, this is open. Oh my, Miss Pavlova's case is open. It's completely empty inside, but according to the great detective's great deduction, she was hiding his special friend in there. Yes, a friend she had to keep secret. Because you're not allowed to bring animals aboard the SS Buria. I wonder what kind of animal she had in there. And more to the point, where is it now? There's just a few books on the desk. Nothing else by the looks of it. And Miss Pavlova only ran away from the ballet last night. She's hardly occupied this cabin for any time at all. That's true. I wonder what kind of books she likes to read. That's not helpful right now. Let me see. Yes, I see. Routine Miss Pavlova enjoys reading books written in Russian. Obviously. Thanks, I probably already knew that. It's rude to ask too much of people, Naruhodo-san. Kindly remember that. All the books have toppled over together. Look, every single one. Do you think that's a god of the sea, perhaps? He's toppled too, though. It's exactly the same as the bookcase next door. Kazuma's cabin. Perhaps Miss Pavlova was practicing a difficult ballet pose and fell against the bookcase. I don't know. Would she really be practicing ballet on the same night she ran away from her ballet company? Alright then. It must have been you. You lost your temper and knocked them all over in a fit of rage. Not everything bad that happens on the ship is because of me, you know. Well, anyway, I'll set them all straight again in here too. I don't like seeing things in disarray. What's with that? Ah yes, they're displayed in this cabin too, look. The SS Buria has rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in the cabins. Pet also strictly forbidden. Suppose Miss Pavlova realized that she needed to keep the contents of the case a secret after she did this. Her special friend, I mean. Wonder where her friend disappeared to now. It's probably having fun exploring the ship, I imagine. I just hope Seaman Stroganoff doesn't find it and throw it overboard. Oh yes, so do I. Okay. There's one of these next to the bed in Kazuma's cabin, too. Yes, the bell cord. I can't resist. No! I'm not supposed to be in here! She barely hesitated there, and she gave it a good tug, too. No, I didn't actually expect anyone to come. We don't want them to! We're trying to investigate in secret! Oh my gosh. Can we peek in there? So this ventilator connects to Kazuma's cabin next door. Yes, although what a foolish shipbuilder must be to open a ventilator into another room. Ah, maybe it's so that if there's a gas leak next door, the occupant of this cabin would notice and raise the alarm. Or the occupants of both cabins would die of gas poisoning. That is a possibility. Anyway, last night Kazuma wrote that he saw a speckled band coming out of this ventilator. What else is there? This? I wonder what this little saucer is doing here on the floor. Yes, it doesn't look like it's been dropped. More like it was put there deliberately. Ah, do you think there could be a leak in the roof just above here? What? A leak? On a ship? Is the ship quite safe? I'm sure that even if there's a little leak in the roof, it doesn't mean the whole ship is gonna sink. No, you're right. Of course you're right. She's really trying to persuade herself, isn't she? No. Interesting. It would seem this teapot is empty. So the natural conclusion is that the Russians are very thirsty people. Or because Miss Pavlova only came to this cabin last night, she hasn't had the chance to make any tea yet. I mean, it could be either. It's definitely that they're excessively thirsty. I'd lay 1,000 to 1 on it. You're rather obstinate, aren't you, Naruhodo-san? Wait, I thought this was part of that. Alright then. Suppose every cabin has a waste paper basket. So you have a look and see what's been thrown away. Naruhodo-san, it's poor etiquette to go sifting through someone's rubbish, you know. Ugh, those eyes. She's looking at me like I'm a piece of rubbish now. However, these are special circumstances, I think. Exactly, we have no choice. There's hardly anything in here at all. Oh, well, that's a little disappointing. All that build-up for nothing? Again, I have run out of things to examine. I guess we leave? And maybe Sholmes is in the hallway? Oh, the arrow. Dang it. Oh, yeah, he's there. Oh, it's Mr. Sholmes, look. Wow, you never know where he's gonna turn up next, do you? He seems to be stealing a look at something as he sings to himself. Tra-la-la-li-ra-li-ra-li, I did it the great detective way. He's still singing. You think he hasn't noticed us? Or he's simply in extremely high spirits. Yes, there were times I'm sure you knew when the yard bit off more than it could chew. And through it all, then there was doubt. It's lucky her luck was about. Excuse me? I solved it all and stood tall. I did it the great detective way. Is he singing my way? But just... Mr. Sholmes! Ah! What is it? Do you want to fight, Honestly, interrupting a fellow when he's singing. And I was just about to reach the climactic finish. Sorry, I thought you were never gonna stop, so I figured now is a good time as any. I nearly dropped you to the floor with one of my famous right hooks. Alright, I get the picture. Now could you put those fists away? Mr. Sholmes, you seem to be examining something before we interrupted you. Ah, yes, that. I was immersed in the study of the ship's log, as penned by the stockily built crewman who's usually on guard here. Oh yes, the ship's log. And did you find out anything useful about it? Well, after 2 AM this morning, the majority of the entries are blank. Which means there was nothing to report. Nothing of note happened, so... You truly are a student from the land of the rising sun. You've been utterly blinded by it. Sorry? Your logic, my boy, is inverted. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Observe the other pages, and all should become clear. You'll see the same crewman oft stands sentry in this first-class passageway. And he has an almost religious practice of recording nothing to report every half hour. Oh, he writes that in every 30 minutes? Nothing to report? Precisely. But simply, the seaman writes nothing to report when there is just that. And yet, the ship's log from last night is largely blank. He didn't even write nothing to report. Do you mean... Yes, there were circumstances afoot last night, which led to the seaman being absent from his post. What kind of circumstances? What happened? That remains a mystery for now, but we can be sure something significant took place. So significant that it caused the seaman to forget his regular habit of scribbling nothing to report in the log. These are important details. I would stake my life on it. You must log the ship's log in your mental file. Now that deduction was worthy of a great detective. Ah, you're starting to understand what my way is. I see. What makes Sholmes Sholmes. Brilliance. Ooh, ouch. What is it? Are you hurt? Oh, don't worry yourself. I seem to be afflicted with a throbbing head this morning for some reason. Nothing more. Well, my friends, till our next encounter. He's still singing to himself. I can hear it as he wanders off down the passageway. Something wrong, Susato-san? You seem lost in thought. It's just... well, I feel the same. Sorry? Ever since I woke up this morning, I've had something of a headache. A sort of continuous throbbing. Oh, you too? What's that all about? Do I go back to the cabin now? Nope. That Lola's cabin? Oh, what's that? Uh-oh. Put down the engines immediately. Vessel sighted a quarter-mile forward. Full stop, hard to starboard. All hands brace for impact. What the? I think we're about to crash into another ship. What? Oh, the screen's tilting. I can't stand. Susato-san, hold on to me. Ah. Susato-san, you alright? Are you injured at all? I think I'm fine, thank you, Naruhodo-san. Oh, everything rattled around. Looks like we avoided a collision. I think... yes, the ship has come to a stop. My goodness, what about you, Naruhodo-san? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. Whoa, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance! Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Hosonaga. Is that you in there, Naruhodo-san? Unbolt the door, quickly! What? The bolt? Look at that! The door's bolted. Did you do that, Susato-san? No, I didn't touch it. Well, that's strange. How did... and look at all the books. They're just like they were before again. Naruhodo-san, aren't you going to open the door and let the inspector in? I better tidy this place up first. A violent emergency stop has solved one mystery at least, in a very vivid way, but I knew that what awaited us on the other side of the cabin door would not be pleasant. I hurried around tidying up the cabin with a new sense of foreboding in my heart. What? That wasn't that long. Weird. Weird to split up the investigation like this. Somehow, the door to the cabin we were in ended up bolted after we made an emergency stop. Susato-san took a deep breath, then gently slid back the bolt. Yeah. You, what are you doing in Miss Pavlova's quarters? Ah, you both look unhurt. Good. Yes, we're fine, thank you. What on earth happened? I heard something about how we were going to collide with another ship. Yes, it appears to have been a false report, though. Oh, how did that happen? There's a dense fog outside, so it's extremely difficult to see. Someone must have thought he saw a ship ahead. This person obviously triggered the alarm, and that's why we made an emergency stop. Everything is chaos. Passengers are screaming, crew are running everywhere. This first-class area is the only quiet part of the ship at the moment. Oh, I see. Someone triggered the alarm. Does that mean that someone pressed that button outside? Ah! You wicked intruder dressed all in black. You are the devil. Sorry, me? I've been called a lot of things before, but devil is a first. You opened my traveling case. How could you? What? No, we didn't touch it. That's right, Miss Pavlova. It was already open when we came into your cabin. Inspector. Yes? Arrest this man. I know he did it. He's a criminal. Is it not enough that he has killed a man? Ah, and he is stowaway as well. If Vixen promises not to steal chicken, do you believe? Take him away. He's trespasser as well as everything else. Stowing away, trespassing, killing. She is right. You won't have one. Doesn't look good, does it? There's a cell below deck. Throw him in. Tomorrow we dock in Hong Kong. Then we give you straight to police. Wait, a cell? Please, Inspector Hosonaga, is there nothing you can do? This is a Russian vessel. I really have no jurisdiction here. After my last effort to appeal to the captain's good nature, I think I'm out of options. This is terrible. It's a real crisis. I gotta find a solution. Immediately. Hello there, Hillock Jones. Get out. Listen, I'm sorry we snuck in here without your permission, but... Get out now. I just need to investigate in here to help understand what happened to... Oh. I don't know what that says. Ugh, it's no use. She's not gonna listen. I need to find someone who will. Him? Hosonaga? Hello there. You've got yourself into a difficult situation here. By entering this cabin uninvited, I mean. Sorry, I was just desperate to find a clue. I'm afraid there's really nothing more I can do to help you. If I push my luck any further, a punch to the face will be the least of my worries. I'm really sorry. I had to take responsibility for giving you the freedom to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin. Now this has happened, I'll have to report to the captain at once. I really need some help here. I need a savior to rescue me from this crisis. Wait. Ah! Look, Sholmes, there you are. What the... What are you doing up there? Mr. Sholmes? Wait, he has a tiara too? Naturally, I was analyzing what a weight of 20,000 rubles feels like on one's head. Have I not told you that as a detective, it is my business to know what other people do not? This isn't mere tomfoolery, my boy. Oh, no. Oh, well, why were you hanging from that hook before that? Isn't it obvious? To properly assess the weight of the 20,000 rubles, naturally. I wish to determine if it would be bend that conceited-looking hook on the wall, so full of brag and bounce. I never know whether to take this man seriously or not. Ah, you again, the great detective. Ah, Inspector, I confess I've been looking for you. I have something to report to you most urgently. Well, you might try looking for me somewhere other than the hook on the wall next time. What is to report? Speak! An urgent report from a great detective can but one thing. Yes. The case of a curious murder that took place last night, here on this vessel, the steamship Uria, has been solved. By me, naturally. What? Really? Yes, I have eliminated all other possibilities. No other explanations exist. So allow me to eliminate all your minds. For I am about to reveal my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Is this gonna be another deduction, whatever, or what? Ha! You have solved it. Even Hedgehog understands this case. We all know who was responsible for student killing boy this morning, when we found criminal in wardrobe. It's this stowaway, and he has handcuffs to prove it. I didn't do it. The trouble is, there don't appear to be anyone else who could have killed the victim. Because as everyone knows, the cabin door was bolted shut from the inside. That means the culprit must be someone who was inside the cabin. Yes, it's what's called a locked room mystery in detective stories. Da, locked room, that is point. The room was locked. I read that very strangely. Well, I can't deny that. There's no way the bolt could have been drawn across from outside the cabin. You're all quite mistaken. The cabin next door is not a so-called locked room at all. What? Oh yes, there is another entrance. An entrance used last night by the culprits in order to gain access to the cabin despite the bolt door. What other entrance? We never discovered one. Why, it keeps open-mouthed at you even as we speak. The ventilator, man. The ventilator? You think this is funny? I cannot even put my arm through that hole. That's because your arms are as thick as tree trunks. They're suggesting that the culprit entered and left the victim's cabin through that tiny opening. It's not possible. Ah, but it is. And last night, the victim even witnessed the intruder in the act of passing through the ventilator. Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Are you referring to the words Kazumaaaaa wrote in his diary? 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Precisely, my dear madam. What does it mean? What is this speckled band? The answer to that particular conundrum is in this very cabin. Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? There's a distinct element of danger, but fear not, I'm ready. What I'm about to expose for you all to see will shock you to your calls. Behold! Yeah, what the? Where'd that come from? Allow me to introduce you all to the band, the speckled band. The snake? Indubitably. F is fine with it, apparently. Alright, Mr. Sholmes, just one thing. Hurry, what troubles you? Well, that snake isn't really speckled, is it? Looks more stripy, wouldn't you say? Yes, you're right. I think in this case you'd have to call it... the striped band, wouldn't you? You both see and observe, with distinction, however. Do you not think that is precisely the trap to which the culprit wishes you to fall? Oh my goodness, really? It's a trap? How exactly? I think perhaps it is time I explain the intricacies of my train of thought. Are you ready, Miss Pavlova? I'm sorry for the young man who died, but that is all. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. There are two conclusions I have drawn from the facts. Number one, last night your friend infiltrated the victim's cabin. And number two, that same friend was responsible for the victim losing his life. No. She's turned as white as a bowl of rice again. Sholmes must be right. He's hit the nail on the head. This young woman's friend killed Mr. Asogi. We can't hear him. Look, he can't speak with that snake coiled around his head. I would advise as little movement as possible, Seaman. You wouldn't want the fangs of that long friend in your neck. So, everyone, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Is there not going to be a trial? It's just going to be the... Makes a little more sense. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with him. This whole thing has nothing to do with him. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. Smarts with pain. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. Wait, it's not? Is there another snake? And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band, whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation that can we give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Oh. Yes, that which you are trying but failing to conceal can only be the snake's sloughed skin. Wait, what? Evidently, after the subtle and horrible crime, the most deadly friend of yours shed its original skin, no? I don't know what you're talking about. Last night, through the ventilator visible in this cabin, your then speckled friend slithered next door. Leaving the bell cord on the other side of the bridge, the serpent silently descended into the victim's quarters. In the dim light, it appeared to the young gentleman who was about to lose his life as a speckled band. In summary, the nature of this friend of yours, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a rare breed of snake whose markings change each time it sloughs its skin. Sloughs? Slogs? A snake so dreadful we can only imagine it would be found in the deepest depths of India. The beloved speckled snake. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I've been apprised, it would appear that there were no visible signs of injury. Ah! In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. Now, if we take that as a fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm it is at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could there be? Yes, an examination of the deceased's body will prove the cause of death conclusively. The almost but not quite imperceptible puncture wounds left by the venomous fangs will seal the truth. Yes, the vestiges of the snake bite delivered by your terrifying friend. This makes no sense. There's no point feigning ignorance, Miss Pavlova. After the incident, you endeavored to hide everything, didn't you? But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. When we first met in this cabin, it came to my attention that your case moved periodically. Your serpent assassin was restless inside, no doubt. You don't... It is telling that the victim made note of a low whistling sound that he heard minutes before his end. That was your signal, was it not? The sound you used to train your serpent friend. To train? Indeed, you put the serp through this ventilator and wait. After a period, you summon it back with a whistle. You could know if the animal had done its duty, so you would listen for signs of life next door. If the victim appeared not to have been dispatched, you'd release the snake once more. You deny the snake has undergone such training. It's not true. Having slithered through the ventilator and down the bell cord, the creature needed only to sink its fangs in once. And its venom would course through the victim's veins, ending his existence forever. That is the true nature of the speckled band that took the poor young man's life. There can be no doubt. My logic is infallible. Am I even doing an accident right anymore? I don't know. It's probably not consistent. Thus conclude Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of the speckled band. Somehow I doubt that. Their faces. And Biff's just calmly there. Miss Pavlova has trained her pet snake as a killing machine. There on the floor you will observe a saucer of milk. The promise of food is the key to training any creature. Incredible! You've solved the mystery. Amazing! Your great deduction really lives up to its name. I see now why Herlock Sholmes has become such a household name. My dear man, it was nothing remarkable. As the Russians say, I could have done it with one left hand. Could I venture an opinion, Mr. Sholmes? But of course, what's on your mind? It's just about your deductions before. Some things don't quite make sense to me. I welcome questions as to my method, and I will answer both loudly and proudly. Oh, well, good. First of all... She pulls out a book. Snakes are egg-laying creatures, part of the reptile family. You are well informed, madam. And reptiles, don't drink milk. Ah. It's really only mammals that like to drink milk, you see. So I'm not sure it would be possible to train a snake using milk as a reward. No matter. No doubt Miss Pavlova used some other treat to encourage her pet to do her bidding. Milk is merely an example. The logic holds. Well, there is something else. Snakes have no ears. Ah. Yes, I'm not sure it would really be possible to signal to a snake by whistle. But madam, what of the tales from Arabia? Have you not heard of the snakes that dance to the sounds of a flute? I think perhaps the performers play their music in time with the snake's natural movements. Oh, I see. No hands, no feet, no ears. These creatures are so inept as to be practically useless. Don't take it out on snakes, Mr. Sholmes. There's one other thing. You have more? Snakes use the scales on their bellies to propel themselves. So, I'm not really sure that a snake could manage to climb up a flat bell cord like one of the ones in these cabins. Then it should try harder. Please, don't be angry with me, Mr. Sholmes. The point is, even if the snake had gone through the ventilator to the next door cabin, it couldn't have come back without help. What I'm trying to say is that there are a number of reasons why it's difficult to imagine the snake could have had a part in this. Poor Sholmes. Sorry, Sholmes. Too many flaws in your logic. I think we need to step in and help again, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no, you don't mean... Yes, we need to modify Mr. Sholmes' latest deductions, and turn them into the great ones they ought to be. I had a feeling that was coming. Alright, let's give it a try. Just what I was waiting for, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, right. So, cast your eyes down to your wrists again. What? Why can he only do it when he's unshackled? It's not like we need our hands. Oh yeah, because all the flexing around and posing he does. Yeah, okay. I remember. The handcuffs are gone. Where'd they go? Fear not, I shall see they're restored after our work is done. I really wish you'd leave them off. Now, everyone, let us begin. Sherlock Sholmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. I mean, I guess this is sort of like cross-examination in a way. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Miss Pavlova, moments ago you claimed the following. His death has nothing to do with me. This whole thing has nothing to do with me. Yet you cannot deceive yourself. Yes, when you recall those horrid events, your aching heart smarts with pain. She does have a pained expression on her face. Yes, true. She looks as though Kazumaaaaa's death is weighing heavily on her mind. But you're not sure Mr. Sholmes has read her quite correctly, is that it? Could there be some other way to interpret her expression then? Let's take a moment and really look very closely at Miss Pavlova. What? How long's that been there?
Yes!
Yes! Yes, when you recall those horrid events, that cloth scratch smarts with pain. Indeed, and simple observation reveals that the wound is fresh. Miss Pavlova, did you in fact receive that scratch sometime last night? Ah! When I think about the young man who died next door, I feel so sad, and when I am sad, the pain from this wound is worse. And it is that very pain that evidences your inextricable link to the victim's death. So we ask, what was the nature of this intruder that stole into the victim's cabin on that portentous night? Why, naturally, it was the friend with which you boarded this vessel, was it not? Ah, as I suspected, another telltale glance. Without doubt, your friend is the writhing serpent we see before us. It seems likely that the scratch mark on the back of Miss Pavlova's hand was made by this friend of hers, doesn't it? Except, snakes don't have claws, do they? No, they don't. They don't even have hands or feet on which claws might grow. Well then, if that snake isn't her pet, what is? What's the true identity of this friend of hers? We should follow her gaze, Naruhodo-san. That's where we'll find the answer. Oh! Picture.
Yes!
No? Oh no. You were looking over this frame's photographic print, weren't you, Miss Pavlova? But let's not be distracted by the print itself. Oh no. And the frame that is your friend, isn't it? Because it so beautifully displays whatever you put inside it. What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Naruhodo? Just following the natural progression of the deduction, sometimes truth hurts. Well, the truth is you do not have a term for observation or deduction. Did that hurt? Yes, a lot. We can be reasonably sure that Miss Pavlova's furtive glance aimed at her friend, and that same friend is probably responsible for the scratch on the back of her hand. We also know that whatever it is, this friend must be small enough to pass through the ventilator. That really ought to narrow it down. How much can I turn? Teapot? Wait. Is it in the teapot?
Yes!
Damn it. Not. Oh, Biff Stroganoff is probably hiding it. Yes, I know where I'm You're thinking, what is this man talking about? Well, I'll tell you what I'm talking about, the truth. Yes, who could you have a more cozy relationship with than a shiny teapot? What precisely was your intention with that, Mr. Ho? Okay, yeah, same thing. Yes, a lot. Is he hiding her friend? He's not a friend, is he?
Yes!
Doesn't sound like it's right either. The heck is it? Forget about how he could have brought him aboard in your case, or how he could fit through the ventilator. True friend always finds a way for you. What more dependable friend could you ask for than Seaman Biff Stroganoff? That deduction was wanting in every way. Yes, I was wanting you to hear it. I'm quite proud of it. I find myself wanting never to have heard it. I'm quite pained by it, in fact. Oh, sorry. I'll try again. Can I not turn more? Where was she looking? There's like nothing else here. What am I missing? This feels like perceiving with Apollo, but worse. Wait. Oh. There. There. Oops. Am I blind? Do I not have the controls right? What? don't... I don't understand. Sorry, let me see if I can look it up, because this is too much. Oh. God damn it. So I was right. I just forgot. Examine. Ugh. Okay, sure. Oh, look, the photograph in this frame. This must be something Miss Belova brought with her when she ran away. It's exceptionally beautiful, isn't she? Yes, it's true. Personally, so was a cat. It's a little black creature she's holding. It caught my eye. Maybe I better take a close look at this. Did I really have to examine this? Obviously, I wasn't talking about the frame being her friend. Look at the little cat Miss Belova was cuddling here. Oh, what's a cute little kitten. Could vie with you, couldn't it, Naruhodo-san? The blackest outfit. The black kitten. From the look of this picture, at least, Miss Pavlova seems very attached to it. That must be a stage costume she's wearing. It's quite stunning. I should like to have something like that. She's wearing the 20,000 rubles on her head as well. Look, it's called a tiara, Naruhodo-san, and you shouldn't think of it purely in terms of value. She must be a strong-willed woman to turn her back on the world stage or away on her own. Okay, we good now? I need that teapot too. I have a feeling that it was this teapot Miss Pavlova's eyes flickered over to before. You think this is the friend she's been talking about? Well, we're all different, aren't we? Whatever we might say about it, that's the way she feels. I don't think I'll say anything about it. You and the teapot can discuss it instead. Wait, that's not what I meant. There's no doubt, is there? She looked in this direction, straight at Seaman Stroganoff. Well, they do seem to be friends of sorts, but I can't imagine you could possibly fit a ventilator. Don't forget that I managed to fit inside Kazuma's trunk when we first boarded the ship. I would ask what that proves, but I think an equivocal little smile would be more effective. The more I look at this creature, the more it starts to stand out. It's a very impressive snake, isn't it? Oh yes, it really is. And it seems to be doing its best to squeeze this poor sailor's head until it bursts. Yes, it's a terrifying sight, and slightly heartwarming at the same time. Anyway, probably a good idea not to get too close. I present the picture now.
Yes!
No? Oh, do I have to be in... Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. Fine. You know what? I'm one away from losing anyway. Like I wanna say it's her own self.
Yes!
Considering the fact that you ran away from your homeland on your own, with no friends at the moment, except yourself. I mean, it's not my intention to make you feel bad. What spectacularly contrived logic led you to this mindless conclusion? Oh, well, it's supposed to be a logic and reasoning spectacular, so I thought I'd contribute to the show. This is my show, Mr. Naruhodo. Please perform any peculiar experiments on your own stage. Ugh, sorry. And now I lose. Arrested forever. Seduction failed. I can see nothing. Okay, let's do this again. Whoops, wrong way.
Yes!
They're so flamboyantly into it. Especially Naruhodo, who's like, just fell into it with him, into the performance alongside Shoals. Alright, let's do this properly this time.
Yes!
App. Without doubt, your friend is the little kitten we see before us. Yes, the scratch on the back of your hand makes that abundantly clear. Oh no. The whereabouts of this black kitten isn't clear, but what is clear is that you brought the animal with you when you ran away, didn't you? Ah! Darka is my best friend. I couldn't leave her behind. Darka would appear to be a Russian blue. And yet, that fact leaves us in a quandary. The victim's written observations on the night in question tell of a speckled band. Whereas, regrettably, this specimen's markings do not fit that description in any way. What explanation can we give, pray? What was this sight that fell upon the victim's eyes last night? No, don't look at me. This has nothing to do with any of this. Oh, but it does. You have the answer to this quandary even now, hidden behind your back. Yes, that which you are trying, but failing to conceal, can only be the snake's slowed skin. Did you see that? She just took something out of her pocket and hid it behind her back. She just left it in her pocket. No one would ever have known. Oh yes, ploys like that are Mr. Shom's specialty. He's ever so cleverly forced her to reveal something. I thought deduction was a specialty. Or maybe making me believe that was a ploy too. Anyway, I find it hard to believe that's the skin of a snake. In which case, just what is Miss Pavlova hiding behind her back? I mean, what, do we just put it? Well, it is speckled, and it is a band, but what is it? It seems to be soft and fluffy. A long piece of cloth of some sort. That looks like a handle on one end. I think it may be a cat's toy. This sort is common in the West, apparently. How is that a toy for cats? Cats like to chase the band around and paw at it. Kittens in particular love that sort of play. No need to wave it in front of them, and they pounce to catch it. God, this sounds positively adorable.
Yes!
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-bum. Yes, the thing you're trying but failing to conceal is, a cat's toy. Precisely, the true image of the now infamous speckled band. And it was this toy that you dangled through the ventilator. You waved it around, I presume. Naturally, the victim could not fail to notice it. But why? For what reason? My dear boy, there can be only one answer to that. After her feline friend disappeared through the ventilator to the neighboring cabin, Miss Pavlova attempted to use a speckled cat's toy to incite the creature to return. Ah. In summary, The nature of this friend of Miss Pavlova's, which last night infiltrated the scene of the crime, is a blithesome Russian blue breed of cat by the name of Darka. A truly troublesome feline young Darka is proving to be. She must be caged once found. You will forgive us for borrowing the photograph of your pet, Miss Pavlova. It was after I gave her food last night. That's when it happened. She scratched the back of my hand and then ran up the bell cord. Before I could do anything, she had disappeared through the ventilator. Darka, she is so naughty. Beloved kitten. Now off to part 2. Whoa. A lot of thunder all of a sudden. Moving on, we come to the heart of the matter, the grim demise of the victim. How did this young man lose his life, and why? According to the data of which I've been apprised, it would appear there were no visible signs of injury. In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by a terrible venom. What Mr. Sholmes says is true. There were no signs of a wound anywhere on Kazuma-san's body. That's right, but Mr. Sholmes seems to be unaware of a very important detail. Kazuma wasn't poisoned. Yet it would seem so. Let's give him the information he's missing now.
Yes!
In fact, the circumstances of the victim's death can only be explained by the post-mortem report. Ah yes, I knew it was one or the other. It was a poison or a report. His neck was... Indeed, the breaking of the cervical vertebrae is fatal. Only that Goliath would be strong enough to survive that. Seaman Stroganoff isn't some little freak, you know. The jury is out. Anyway, we have a good authority that the victim's neck was broken. Now, if we take that as fact, we can reasonably imagine that there remains evidence to affirm at the scene of the crime. Oh no, could be... Yes, an examination of the deceased body will prove the cause of death conclusively. Kazuma died because his neck was broken. In other words, he was probably struck by something, or someone. Yes, that's a distinct possibility. As of yet, no weapon has been found, though. Surely Darkla didn't silently clear up behind Kazuma and deal him a fatal blow. I suppose it's possible he had fallen and hit the ground awkwardly. Could have been a terrible act of misfortune that broke his neck completely by accident. Oh yes, bad fall could explain it. It's rather hard to believe of Kazuma-sama, though. He wasn't a clumsy man. Well, we need to fix his deduction somehow. Is there anything from the scene that could explain what happened?
Yes!
Yes, an examination of the mark on the floor would prove the cause of death conclusively. A particular mark was so prominently visible next to the victim's body as a deposit of shoe polish. Shoe polish? Indeed, positively identified by a little analysis device I constructed, which I carry now as a matter of course. Beeswax, tallow, and dye were my results, the undeniable ingredients of shoe polish. And the color of the polish is a perfect match to the color of Miss Asogi's laced leather shoes. Mr. Asogi's laced leather shoes. Looking at this mark, it's not hard to imagine what happened. For some reason, Mr. Asogi must have cut his foot at that point on the floor and tripped. Please, no. and, by a dreadful turn of misfortune, caught his neck against an immovable object as he fell to the floor. What? No. Someone else asked me that exact same thing earlier. I'm playing for the first time. Suffering a fatal blow to the spine, the victim's vertebrae shattered, and in that instant, he lost his life. No! I don't know. I don't know anything about this. Is that really true, Miss Pavlova? He's so into it. What the evidence left at the scene where Mr. Asogi lost his life? What about the evidence at the scene? Yes, the facts are as clear as day to me. But you ask, you did all you could to conceal the incriminating evidence. But now your involuntary glance betrays the hiding place you chose. That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that traveling case. I don't believe it. Kazuma-sama merely tripped over and now it's no more. It can't be true, I refuse to accept it. I know it's hard to believe, but the mark on the floor does seem to suggest that's what happened. And if this part of Mr. Shulman's deduction is right, Miss Pavlova's trying to hide some evidence that would prove it. Here in this cabin, somewhere in the direction that she just cast her eyes. Ah, nice. Minecraft's fun, but I haven't played Cyberpunk yet. I don't really got money to buy it, unfortunately. Maybe someday, when it's on sale. Where, I wonder? Let's have a look around. The answer must be here somewhere. Okay, let's see. What is this? She didn't hide in the tier. That wouldn't make sense. Ah, somebody appears to be dropped 20,000 rubles here. It hasn't been dropped, Naruhodo-san. It's been placed. It's trying to sound like Mr. Sholmes. Stop trying to sound like the great detective. Turn the bottle? This is a paper basket. Perhaps all the first-class cabins have them. Wait, what do you mean you'll try it? Isn't it one of your favorite games? Miss Pavlova only started occupying this cabin last night. Presumably there's not much rubbish in here yet. Look, didn't see that before. Oh, what's that? It's a broken piece of glass, isn't it? Yes, it is. And I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. If it looks familiar, perhaps it's more in your mind simply playing tricks on you. That's a tough one, but I like Zelda Majora's Mask, Final Fantasy XIV, but I haven't been able to pay for that subscription in a while. Yeah, probably Final Fantasy XIV right now.
Yes!
That's right, you hid the evidence that links you to the victim's death in that waste paper basket. Ah! Here we have a fragment of some intricate glass object, it would seem. One that has a familiar air, in fact. Precisely. We found another piece of broken glass on the floor of Mr. Asogi's cabin. And as you can see, the two pieces fit together perfectly. Oh no. So, Miss Pavlova, shall we consider what it tells us? Why would it be a part of this glass object, which was evidently broken at the scene of the victim's death, should be found in the waste paper basket in your cabin? Yeah! You're well acquainted with this glass bill, are you not? I don't know, and that hushed Russian accent of yours won't save you this time, dear girl. Why? Because we have conclusive evidence linking you to the bell in question. What? Take it away, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes. The evidence linking Miss Pavlova and the little glass bell, that would be... What? Is it just this?
Yes!
think, yes, this is the evidence. Ahem, my dear fellow, that evidence is one of Miss Pavlova's trademark dismissals, I would say. Would you do the honors, young lady? I don't know. Perhaps you would care to propose some other piece of evidence. The answer is really quite simple, but then there is nothing more deceptive than an obvious fact. Okay, wait. Is that the whistling sound?
Yes!
No! What the heck? Oh no, I'm overthinking this. Oh, Miss Pavlova in the glass. Ah, of course. I was reading that wrong. I thought it was like the glass with I don't even know what.
Yes!
This picture. If you look at this photograph, you can clearly see hanging from Darka's collar. Oh yeah, FF14 is my favorite, but I haven't been able to play Dawn Trail even yet, unfortunately. Very glass bill in question. The truth is caught up with you, Miss Pavlova. The young man who lost his life last night did so after a truly inauspicious fall. And the cause of that fateful stumble? Your absent feline friend, Darka. I couldn't tell anyone. I'm sorry. Death by tripping over a cat. Oh no. Elementary. Why don't you tell us, Master Miss Pavlova? Tell her exactly what happened last night. It was a little after 1 in the morning. It was so late, but I hadn't had time to feed Darka, so I gave her some food. And then, all of a sudden, she scratched me and jumped out of my hands. People do say that cats become very anxious and nervous in new environments. She was so fast, she disappeared through the ventilator before I could stop her. And that is how you acquired the rather nasty wound on the back of your hand, I take it. Yes. And I have read the rules on the wall. I knew that I was not allowed Darka with me. Yes, modern science suggests that animals can carry infectious diseases. It's a precaution, really. So I listen and listen, trying to hear if there was some noise in the next cabin. It was very quiet. I was sure if someone was there, he must be sleeping. So at that point, you thought it safe to try to lure the kitten back again. By dangling the end of the toy through the ventilator and into the adjoining cabin. Darka always loved this toy, but it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried using her favorite toy. I tried whistling to her softly, but nothing. She didn't return. The faint whistling sound Kazumaaaaa wrote about in his diary was Miss Pavlova trying to retrieve her pet. Cats have a propensity to remain hidden in the shadows when frightened. Yes, so there was nothing else I could do. I just had to wait until she had calmed down. But then... I nearly passed out with shock. I heard her cry out and then, oh, it was such a dreadful bang. Then afterwards nothing. It was totally silent. Kazuma was. From the appearance of the brown mark on the floor, it seems likely that what you heard was the victim stepping on the glass bell and tripping up. The SS Buria is a large vessel, but even she can pitch and roll violently without warning. Mr. Asoyo's already off balance as a result of the ship lurching when the kitten got under his feet. A combination of unfortunate factors could easily have caused him to fall over. But what became of the kitten afterwards? In the end, I managed to get her to come back through the ventilator. Yet Dawka is nowhere to be seen. I must have forgotten to lock my case. And now she's disappeared again. Gracious, that cat is as insufferably restless as I am. Well, he knows something about himself at least. When I woke this morning, I heard that the young man in the cabin next to mine had died. But I couldn't bring myself to tell anyone what had happened. I was too scared. Scared that they would send me back. Oh, hold on a minute. What about the snake? You're right, where is it? If the snake's in your friend, Miss Pavlova, then whose is it? Where did it come from? What on earth is such a dangerous creature doing on board the ship? Oh, I didn't say. Snake is my friend. His name is Pirosco. What? What? That snake belongs to you? He escaped from cage when the emergency alarm sounded. I was looking for him. I did not expect to find him in here. Yes, how did that snake get into this cabin? But animals are not permitted on board. Ah, we are at sea for 1 year. You want to be so long without a close friend, without someone who understands? Can't you find someone more human who understands you better? But my dear burly fellow, a gargantuan venomous snake. Surely you can appreciate the danger you're putting everyone in. No venom. Pirosco does not have venom. He is armless, very long, but very gentle. He is adorable like Granny. It's venomless. Yes, now he is hungry, so he is in bad mood. But once I feed him, you will see big smile. And you feed him what? Milk, I suppose? Ah, like they say, milk chickens? Ridiculous. Snakes that drink milk are only in stupid stories. Beetles, mouses. Big fat round mouses. Ah, oh, so. Is that what the mousetrap in the passageway out there is for? Of course. I was gonna catch my friend's favorite food. Nothing says top of the food chain like the look in their eyes right now. Show him space. It refuses to drink milk. It can't hear a whistle. It can't climb up a bell cord, and it's not even venomous. How the deuce did something so in that land starring? Oh, it's not my fault. I do not make up stories. My Pirosco has nothing to do with this incident. So that's what happened. That's the truth behind my best friend's tragic death. What about the message in Russian? Miss Pavlova, I understand the difficult situation you found yourself in, and I do sympathize. But please remember this. A young man lost his life, If you're going to attempt to cover up your guilt with lies, then no matter what the circumstances, I cannot forgive you. But what are you talking about, Miss Mitoba? What lies? Miss Pavlova just confessed everything. It was just a series of unfortunate events, an accident. I'm no great detective like Mr. Sholmes. I don't have a gift for knowing the truth. But even I can see that was not the truth. Don't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? To be perfectly honest, yes. There's a discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure of it. I just can't quite put my finger on it. I confess. I was intending to let Scotland Yard deal with any outstanding issues on this matter. Oh. I'm only present here for a very specific reason. The truth is, you, Mr. Naruhodo, are simply a distraction. A distraction? I do hope you've not been finding your shackles too uncomfortable. Ah, again, when did he do that? Especially as they're on your wrists as a result of my intervention. I was rather hoping I could resolve matters before we made our next port call. Or Mr. Sholmes? Yes, but I overlooked one important detail. The deceased young man was a very close companion of yours. Was he not? Yes. Kazumaaaaaaa was my closest friend. I owed him my freedom even. In that case, we must follow its conclusion. No further distractions. You must uncover the real truth here, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, whatever that may be. The key to this is the discrepancy in Miss Pavlova's story, I'm sure. If I can chase that down, maybe the truth will become clear. The truth about how you really died. About how that scene in your cabin really came to be. Alright, I'll see what I can do. Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Naruhodo. So then, shall we begin? Yes. What we should ponder first is the victim who lost his life in a cabin that was bolted shut from the inside. Was this truly an unfortunate accident? Or in fact no accident at all? That is what we must establish in the first instance. But we've already established it, haven't we? The man tripped over the kitten that had climbed into his cabin via the ventilator. Tragic, yes, but still an accident. Wait, let's just take a step back. It doesn't make sense if that's really what happened, does it? I'm going to have to ask you to spell it out for me, I'm afraid. Yes, it's starting to take shape now. There's a clear contradiction between the facts and Mrs. Pavlova's story here. The evidence is right in front of Kazuma's cabin. It's undeniable. His death couldn't possibly have been a mere accident. Really? Let us show our hand, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to present the evidence. The evidence that proves unequivocally that the victim's death was no mere accident. I save? I can save. I couldn't save during the deduction, but I couldn't save here. The writing, right?
Yes!
The truth is clearly recorded in this photographic print. There's no way Mr. Asogi could have left this message on the floor. That script, it's Russian, isn't it? Indeed it is. The word written means wardrobe. I see what you mean. Most people would leave a dying message in their native language. Japanese in this case. But maybe he was studying Russian. The simple language, he could have picked it up very fast. That doesn't seem likely. That's actually not the point. It makes no difference whether he knew Russian or not. Sorry? What do you mean? Exactly what I said before. There's no way that Mr. Shogi could have left this message on the floor. And the reason why is clearly explained in here. Damage to the cervical vertebrae resulting in instant death. Instant death. Ah. Which means, after the victim fell to the floor, he couldn't possibly have written anything. Because he's already dead. That's not the only reason either. There's something else we found in Mr. Sogi's cabin. A remnant of something that couldn't possibly have been there, if what Miss Pavlova told us was true. What? So Susato-san's noticed it too then. Putting this message on the floor aside, there's something else that gives the truth away. Another piece of evidence that proves it was no accident. In other words...
Yes!
This piece of broken glass next to the mark on the floor. That's the glass bell the kitten had around its neck. We already know all about that. It was broken in half when the victim tripped over the cat and fell. So we already have a satisfactory explanation. Where's the flaw in that logic? Unfortunately, there's a very big flaw. A fatal flaw. What? If that's really what happened, then how did one half of the bell end up back here in this cabin? Ah. Yes, remember that we found the other half of the glass bell in that waste paper basket. Would you care to explain that, Miss Pavlova? Oh no. Both these pieces of evidence clearly point to the same conclusion. That when Mr. Asogi died last night in his cabin, there was someone else in his room. And that same person deliberately arranged the scene to disguise the truth, in order to cover up his or her own guilt. Yes, there was someone else present to Mr. Asogi's... Whoa! You are wasting time. Someone else was there. Duh, of course we know this. What are you talking about? That was a strong hole. The bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. There was no way in or out. Oh, yes. And only one other person in the cabin when the young student died. It was you. It's true, I was in the cabin when it happened. I was shut inside the cabin wardrobe to be precise about the details. But I don't know Russian. There's no way I could have left that message. Not would have. There's no way you could have left that message to be precise about the details. Would you mind? Forgive me, dear fellow. But I was saying... The person in question wrote the word wardrobe in Russian on the floor. In an attempt to incriminate me for the crime, even though I had been sleeping here the entire time. And then, the same person picked up the broken glass bell that fell into the floor, for fear of it becoming evidence that would show Mr. Shogi really died. But why wouldn't this person have taken all the pieces of the bell away? Leaving half behind was always going to raise questions. Yes, well, it was past 1 o'clock in the early hours of the morning. The cabin would have been quite dark. A single small lamp, suspended from the ceiling, would barely have cast any light onto the floor here. Little wonder then that the culprit failed to notice a fragment of the tiny item. You all suspect me, don't you? Oh. Did he do it? Seaman Stroganoff. The snake's gone. Oh wait. Oh yeah, it is. Nina is woman of sea. She is daughter of strong sailor. 2 years ago, they noticed her dancing skills and she went away to join ballet company. But before, she was dancer on this ship, a member of ship's band. You do not accuse ship's angel of being criminal. Ah, so that's it. You say that when young student died, Nina was there in his cabin. But that is not possible. I give my tooth. What? Well, this is almost interesting. And why would you give your tooth, pray? How can you be so sure? You're a great detective. You should know. Look through the eyes. Cabin bulkhead was bolted shut from inside. Nobody could go into cabin. Not Nina, not anyone. Or do you want to tell me that kid can walk through locked doors? Yet, it isn't possible. Ugh, he's right. But wait, I've read about this in detective stories. People often tie thread around door latches so they can open and close them from the outside. Thread? Are you stupid? Bulkheads are not barn doors. Certainly not. These watertight doors, as one would expect on any modern steamship. Constructed of heavy steel without a gap in sight. No thread or needles or magnets could have been used. She knows that. She told me that. No, of course not. I thought so too. But Mr. Naruhodo suggested it earlier, so... Sato-san, how could you sift it onto me like that? So Seaman Stroganoff has a valid point. The cabin door couldn't have been bolted shut from the outside. Not necessarily. What? I put it to you that I could bolt this cabin door without laying a finger on it. And in this very cabin, you can see the traces of the method I have in mind having been used before. They don't believe it. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, I believe you know what I mean, don't you? A way to shut the bolt of the cabin door from the outside. One way does spring to mind, yes. Do you really know what Mr. Jones means, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, and so should you. Because we've seen it happen. Indeed we have. So, would you care to do the honors, Mr. Naruhodo? Point out the signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside.
Yes!
Yes? Look at the bookcase there. All the books and things have toppled over? That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before. Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small object fastened down are bound to fall over. I believe, yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia, acting on the object. Is there nothing Susato-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book at least? Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books in the bookcase also made something else in the cabin move. The bolt on the cabin door. Ah! It was very obvious after the emergency stop this ship made earlier. We'd come to this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then... Hello, is anybody in there? Shout if you need assistance. Oh, that sounds like... Inspector Osunaga. Oh yes. That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door. Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of inertia, if you want to call it that. Are you trying to say that the last night, after Mr. Asogi was killed, Mrs. Buria made another emergency stop? When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over. Oh yes, I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I? Then when we came back into this cabin, we were surprised it's the same thing in here. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asogi's cabin. Oh my. Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova? Are you out of your mind? You say Buria made emergency stop? It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying the culprit is actually someone from the engine room. Oh, it is simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? used to trigger the emergency alarm. Oh yes, of course. There was a note, wasn't there, telling you only to press the button in times of emergency. On dark nights when the fog is dense, the captain cannot afford to rely on the eyes of his lookouts alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. A sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. Wait, it was you? No. Sholmes, did you turn that murder scene into a locked room scenario? When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interests of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did earlier today. Oh wait, or he pressed it just earlier. So he was testing it. Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who... As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. Sounds almost proud of himself. How dare you mess with ship? I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let's not overlook the fact that we've now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So, what we must now consider... Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi, did the ship make an emergency stop, or did it not? You are idiots! Buriya is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make an emergency stop, even in the middle of the night, there will be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea. Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night? Yeah, two.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganoff. It's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right? That is correct. Why? And the ship's log here. This will be where you record the details of your duties. What are you doing with that? That is mine. Ah, you rather carelessly left it atop the makeshift bureau on the passageway here. Ah, yeah. Hello, Sushi. Yeah, I was worried about that. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with a mind to return it to you later. I left it there on purpose. That is where I put it always. The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances, you write the phrase, "nothing to report," every 30 minutes. Hi! But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log? That is... because nothing happened. If anything happened, you would normally write "nothing to report," wouldn't you? Oh. Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Buriya. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact. How you doing, Sushi? Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night? Stop talking rubbish! If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh, why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed? That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night. Well, no, that's a good point. What of the throbbing? Sorry? What do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We've all suffered with it. Ah! Oh, yes. I have had a headache. You're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today. Let me just... Oh wow. I thought you would have been back sooner. Okay, back to it. Oh, have I? My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn. Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected. I forgot to do the accent. That's right, my head's been throbbing today too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. Can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. Then the first thing I noticed this morning was throbbing pain in my head. I'd already been dragged out of the wardrobe. And had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up with all that was happening to me? When all that was happening to me? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, you boarded the vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yes. Sorry. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Ah, well, Kazumaaaaaaa looked after me. He's always happy to share his meals. So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes, in fact. I had all of that. Kazumaaaaaaa wasn't fond of chicken. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's right, he didn't touch it. Is that relevant? My dear fellow, does that not strike you? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken? I do. Oh, really? Is that really true? The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a soporific designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it. A sleeping drug? Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop? I'm trying. Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea. Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. Mr. Sholmes? Well, Seaman? Hey. I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, would be hauled over the coals. For aiding and abetting a renegade. Yeah. I just use my normal voice for the main character because that's too much. He's gonna be talking the whole game, so you know. Please, no more. I will tell everything. Hey! I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore. These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe. Yes, so when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me. We all agreed to help, everyone together. She threw away everything, her fame in the ballet, Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. You are right, we put sleeping drug in chicken last night. Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. Duh, we could not make all drug. How do you say, dissolve? Ugh, talk about heavy seasoning. At midnight in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. He was helped by a comrade on shore with a small fishing boat. While all the passengers of this SS Burya slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of the slum-inducing potion their evening meals had contained. So if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who disliked chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could use the emergency stop trick to lock Kazuma's cabin door. But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins, after which we would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Yeah. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night. Yes. The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with the cabin doors bolted anyway, and so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the doors locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolts of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. You have talked a long time and said many things. What is point? Point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedures in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But... I don't know about any of this. I am just a little girl. You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories we don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. A laudable trait. What? I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt on the wind? What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No, you must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. Oh, here we go again. So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistant, if you please. With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said. Of these two prevaricators... Observation? If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asogi's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened. Precisely. You are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died. What suggests someone else was there at the scene? Oh! Oh, look at this. It's some kind of stain in an unusual place. Yes, you're right. It looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken. Ink. Look at the color, too. It's clear where this came from.
Yes!
Yes! Seaman Stroganov. You seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there. Eh? Ah, yes. I don't know where the dirt comes from. So, nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain? What are you trying to say? It would appear that the significance of the stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganov's uniform, and I think what made it is clear. Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves what that stain on the back of Seaman Stroganov's uniform really is.
Yes!
Yes, it's this photograph, and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform. Ink. A rather unusual color of ink, purple. The penny drops, at last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink of the exact same color. If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform that way. Which means... you must have been present in the cabin in the moments immediately after the ink was spilt. Alright, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in Dead Student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Wardrobe Man. Then I pressed button to make Burya do emergency stop, and bolt cabin door shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel. Biff, please. Don't worry, Angel. Let me do the talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling passageway. Then our Angel came to me. She was white like sheet. Biff, please, you must help me. I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw student boy on floor. What happened here? Please, don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend. Everything that happened in the cabin is like Angel told you. The kid escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Asogi's cabin. Then he tripped over and broke his neck when he fell to the floor? Yes, that is right. So after the incident, when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers, only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on the floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel? The door was not locked, so she opened to look, and you already know what happened after. There's just one thing. if you wouldn't mind. What? When you went to Mr. Asugi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why? I already told you. When Lena opened the door of student's cabin and looked inside, I was asking Miss Pavlova. Well, Miss Pavlova? Duh. Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you. So is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death last? Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes? This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of death was a broken neck. Therefore, the victim died instantly. Yeah, it's fun. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events? A kitten on which the victim stumbled. And in court, they do a lot of animations too. It's pretty cool. It's smooth. That's why I put it in 60 frames, because it's more fun that way. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events? A kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, those are the facts. There is one particular area in this photograph that seems to me somewhat unnatural. What do you mean, unnatural? What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Huh? Oh, well. Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck. Which part of this photographic print seems unnatural? Oh? Is it his head? His neck?
Yes!
Nope. It must be here, surely. Allow me to offer you a piece of advice regarding the pursuit of detection, my dear fellow. When noting a crucial point, it can be helpful to keep your eyes open. They were open. And it can be equally helpful to use them. Sorry, I'll try that. I think it's plain what Mr. Sholmes means by unnatural, isn't it? The word written in a foreign language underneath his fingertips, surely. That particularly crass detail was orchestrated by the culprit. No, I mean to identify another point. Imagine, if you will, losing your footing yourself. Would you land as the victim has? What of your hands? Oh, you look at a fellow who stumbles with some regularity. This should be an easy task. Yep, that's exactly what he's doing. Why do I? Okay. Well, that was a big hint. The hand, this one then? Alright, if you really fell due to an unfortunate accident, and this fist just doesn't seem quite right. The exact same thought occurred to me. And for one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say, as though he were gripping something. What do you mean? Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow? Mr. Sholmes, show us, please. Why, of course, my dear madam. What would I keep you in suspense? This is what I found. Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle. Yes, you're right, a crescent moon. It's very pretty. What does that tell us? It gives us nothing. I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Let's just look at the court record then. Nope, not that. Maybe it's in the other picture. What? Can I check this now? No, it's not there. Yeah. Mission's already. I get it! Part of this? No. Cat? Oh, whatever. Let's see what they say. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe, find the answer with your own eyes. Okay, I guess we're observing. I'm looking at their ears. What the heck am I looking for? Taylor's hat. Have you noticed something about Seaman Stroganov's hat, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh no, I don't think it can tell us much. I was just practicing my observation. Well, I don't imagine we're going to find anything to do with the crescent moon under it, do you? No, you're right. Let's look elsewhere. She has such petite ears among that beautiful hair, like little pink shells. Oh, what's that? There's something attached to her ear. Ah, I expect that's what's called an earring. It's a little piece of jewelry. An earring, is it? It really is tiny. Perhaps part of it's missing. Maybe it broke off. So now all that's left is the clasp part that attaches to the ear. If that's the case, she doesn't appear to have noticed that it's broken. Well, that's it then.
Yes!
Yes! Miss Pavlova, I noticed it on your ear. Oh, her other ear did have a crescent moon thingy on it. What the heck? I didn't notice that. Even though you have a metal earring, the decorative part of it seems to be missing. The little link holding it on is broken, I suppose. Hey, what? But looking at your other ear, I noticed a crescent moon. Yeah, it has the moon. Ah! I don't believe it. Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there's only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Sogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night in Mr. Sogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Asogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments? Oh, Angel? No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma? Ugh. Let's see what happened. When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship, And then, when I was at last in this cabin and could relax after all this horrible long day. Darka, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy, but nothing worked. Darka would not come back. What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh. I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. The young man from your country. He was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin. Yeah. They all get like that. Everyone's very dramatic in these games. Just a moment. Sorry, but... Oh, yes? I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Ah, of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina. Oh? No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land from faraway east know a Russian ballerina? Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment. I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice. I see. So you've run away. Please, please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone. Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. He's going to pull the cord. He's going to tell the captain. Why did I think I could trust him? That's true. Although in the Dual Destinies, which is the 5th game, and Spirit of Justice, the 6th game, there's like a lot more 3D-ish stuff going on there too. Apollo Justice has a bit too, but that's a little more primitive because it was for the original DS. Yeah. Then it happened, everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted, and then... Oh no. Darka jumped out of my arms, and down to the young man's feet. And... as he turned around to look at me... Ah! I pushed him. Oh, she killed him by accident. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop from telling anyone about me. That's when you went to fetch help? From Seaman Stroganov, who was on duty on the out in the passageway. I heard Nina cry out and thud on the floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like leaf. She looked at me and said, "Help me, Biff. If they find out, I will be... Please, I have nowhere to go." So you decided to help. That's when you arranged things in Kazuma's cabin to make it look like I did it, so that no one would suspect the passenger in the cab next door? Yes. I went into cabin and looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found Stowaway, in wardrobe, still sleeping. Right, that's when you found me. So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on Stowaway. I closed wardrobe doors and put back strange paper sign. Luckily for me, that's the only reason Susato-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged young man's body to good place and used ink that was spilling to write on floor. I wrote, sorry, I don't know what it says. So that person who found him would look inside the wardrobe and find Stowaway. And tell me, what of the glass bell? It was by my feet, so I picked it up. I see. But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half. Then Angel went back to her cabin, and I finished job. By pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway? Yes. Accordingly, the SS Buria did indeed come to an emergency halt at little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. What? Well, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland, and it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right? Yes. But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been the problem? It was what he said first that made me scared. What he said first? What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh. I'm sorry. I thought he was a friend of mine. He said an inspector was his friend. Ah, yes, with me. I was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard. I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Asogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know. What? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give your secret away, then he wouldn't have done. No, he was walking over to do it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to make them send me back. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not yet done, it seems. There's one more deduction to make. What? Another deduction? Yes, what action was the victim really about to take at that moment? Can we determine whither the young man's gaze was directed? What? First, consider the victim's location within his cabin. That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. That cabin has been my home for this entire voyage. So this is how the cabin looked last night, when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama. Yes, it's exactly how it was. Are you ready then, Miss Naruhodo? Yes. There's one thing I've learned today. It's that a simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at? It's easy. I was looking at this.
Take that!
Considering everything that had happened last night, it certainly may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Yes. However, what is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe. Wardrobe? And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? Man's great friend, sleeping soundly. Ah! Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. What were Mr. Asogi's exact words last night? Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. Another opinion? Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Asogi intended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if between them, they might be able to help in some way, no doubt. Oh no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Asogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had. Miss Pavlova, I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did. And that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that. I'm sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. Aw. What have I done? That's sad. And so at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident on the SS Buria was finally laid to rest. What'll happen to Miss Pavlova now then? Once we reach Great Britain, she'll hand it over to the British police at Scotland Yard. What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Did the Russians try to repatriate her? Apparently, the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do that? So she won't be going back to Russia then? No, I don't think so. Even if you want to return in the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile life. I see. I'm sorry. Seaman Stroganoff? I wanted to help our angel, no matter what. But I didn't think about you, about how you lost good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police. That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste, but... well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? Duh. Well, I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm gonna have to hand you over to the consul to arrange your passage back to Japan. Yes, I did stow away after all. I couldn't really expect any different. So you should get back to your cabin now. It's like my study tour to Great Britain. It's over before it even begun, then. I think that only days ago Kazuma and I were laughing together about how we'd tear up the streets of London. It seems like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? Oh. Susato-san? Naruhodo-san, I didn't know you had returned. Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack, you know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that. I still can't believe this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over, just like that. Susato-san. He had such grand ideas for this visit to Great Britain. So many dreams. Now they've been cruelly taken away, just as he has. I felt I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. That it was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, Naruhodo-san. It's just too much. Yes, I know. I wish there was something I could say. Who's this? Oh, Inspector. My duty was to see Asogi-san safely to Great Britain, but I failed, and caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down, and I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder. Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now. Huh? Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo? What does it mean? Oh, trifling matter. Simply that in my head, I think I should always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry? So I decided to restore them, for old time's sake, shall we say. You are a stowaway, after all. He thinks this is funny? Mr. Sholmes. I do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you, from the bottom of my heart. Not at all, not at all. And though it's a little late, may I offer my sincere condolences? The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope you'll be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port, in Hong Kong. We shall have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened. What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was stowaway. The terms of his study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. There was to be one lawyer and one assistant. Was to be? In the light of Mr. Sogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. Oh no, I don't care for me, but... Poor Susato-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely. But there's no one else with necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid. Oh, but anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourself another suitable lawyer. Yes? Miss Susato? Yes? Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it? Ah! But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law? No, I'm not, but... I'm sorry. In that case, I don't think there's even a chance it could work. But as I said, there's still more than a month before we reach England's shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I have a month in which to study, to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain. Mr. Naruhodo, it's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? If by the time we reach Great Britain, I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? For Kazuma. He said there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit too. I'll become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Miss Susato? I think it's a wonderful idea. Oh, she's smiling. Thank you. So, what does all the spectacle inspector friends say? Are you serious? One lawyer and one assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No, it's madness. Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating. Duty and rules are the dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest, give us fascination. Speak for yourself. Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character, no? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice. Inspector, after all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything at all to get up for my shortcomings here. Oh, thank you, Inspector. My voice. If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next and how best to make my report. Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I'm gonna try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know? Everything about being a lawyer. I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant after all. Thank you. And Mr. Naruhodo, I'd like you to take charge of this. What? Me? Are you sure? I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Sogi clan for generations. Very well, I accept. I'll treasure it, always. So then, Miss Susato, seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet. It'll be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study. Yes, that's exactly what I need. But before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you too. Goodness, what is it? Please throw me to the ground. What? 3 times? What? I should never have doubted you. You were Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior. No, you weren't shocked. You just found out about me stowing away, and the cabin door was locked from the inside. No, I won't let you make excuses for me. Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you, and not just once, but 5 times. The number keeps creeping up, doesn't it? Please, you must. Just take hold of me and throw me. Do it. Don't even think about it. No, I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed. When did you see that? I presume that would be a form of Japanese wrestling. Oh, well, in a way, it's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jujutsu technique. Apparently it's called the Susato Takedown. It leaves your head swimming, believe me. How beguiling. I am a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I am a somewhat accomplished boxer. There he goes, dancing around again. Wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me on the techniques of your wrestling throw? Yes, I'd be honored. Then let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madam. Oh, of course. Are you ready, Miss Naruhodo? Sorry? Hi-ya! Oh no. Should throw him again. As you can see, you throw the abdomen. Oh yes, arresting indeed. And that is what you term the Susato takedown, is it? Actually no, that was a Susato squash. They're upside down. In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from an evening I've recently spent with Kazuma flickered into my mind. Haruma? That's right. A prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. Can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely. A Japanese man's sword is the soul, Ryunosuke. It can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me. I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain. I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I appreciate you seeing it through with me. Of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. That important thing he had to... I still don't know what that was. But I'm gonna see the place for myself and work it out. Great Britain's capital, London. Yay! Chapter 2 done. Yes, please. Okay. Guess I couldn't save it in another slot. Okay. I think that's a good place to stop for now. Because there's so much talking. Yeah, I did the other day. I think it was Friday or Saturday. And then yesterday I started this chapter, and today I finished this chapter. I think they should still be on both sites, on Twitch and YouTube, but I'm not completely sure if it's on Twitch. Anyway, yeah. That is it for tonight, because I had to do so much talking. Yeah, I streamed yesterday. I don't know why it's being weird about not telling anyone anymore. But yeah, there's all that talking. I'm not used to it, so my voice feels weird. My throat feels weird, so I'm done for now. And I'll try... Yeah, I heard a lot of people... Some people, when people stream to Twitch and YouTube, most people prefer to watch on YouTube if they're using their phone, because they don't like Twitch's app. Yes, thank you for coming and stopping by, Sushi. Hope you rest well and eat well. Anyway, yeah, I'm going now. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll be back hopefully tomorrow, but if not tomorrow, soon. Bye.